Carry On is Netflix's latest movie to be released on the platform, and it shot straight to #1 of the top 10 charts following it being put on there. Everyone's been calling it the new Die Hard, and I can see this being included in a debate on if it's actually a Christmas movie or not in a few years' time. Starring Taron Egerton as an airport security officer named Ethan, who's forced into going rogue as a mysterious traveler played by Jason Bateman tried to sneak a bomb onto a plane and used Ethan's girlfriend Nora's life as leverage. This thriller was one that tried its best to bring the suspense whilst capturing the feeling of Christmas. Was it successful in doing so? And what happened at the end of the movie? Well, let's dive into it and break down all that there was to take away from it. Here is a review of Carry On and the ending explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The ending explained. With regards to the ending of this movie, we saw that Ethan was a man that started the film with no real drive or motivation within his career. He was just kind of going along with it, but following his girlfriend Nora revealing that they had a baby on the way, he wanted to get himself into gear and bring in more money so that he could support his family. Ethan had this underlying dream of being a cop, but he deliberately failed the polygraph test, which meant that he didn't get it. Whilst in his current job, we saw all of the instincts and behaviors that he had throughout the movie. He was observant, perceptive, and had the mind and bravery of a police officer. He almost didn't believe that he was good enough to be one though, but it was only through Nora's life being threatened and the life that he had on the horizon with his future family that made him go above and beyond and think on his feet to save the day. Novichok was the deadliest nerve agent that was ever made, and the traveler wanted to have it on board a plane that contained Grace Suarez, a congresswoman that was trying to rally up the support of Congress for a bill which was called DTD, which was getting refused to pass. However, with her being on board the plane that would have gone down and killed her along with 249 other people by the deadly nerve agent, the Russians would have been blamed, and then Congress would probably look to support that bill as a way of improving their defense. With the traveler switching tickets and the flight on Terminal 7 being a ruse just in case his original location was predicted, Ethan's quick thinking in changing the carry-on luggage case to an identical bag that was ever so slightly bigger, which would mean that it would need to be scanned and tracked. It was something that meant that Ethan then knew the whereabouts of where the traveler was going to be. Ethan ultimately ended up disarming the bomb on the plane and removing the Novichok from the case before the traveler got to him, and it caught him by surprise. The traveler thought that he knew everything that he needed to know about Ethan and that he was a predictable individual. But with this newfound protective mindset that he had and the chance to save the people coming through, it wasn't as easy as what he thought it would be, showing that Ethan had a lot of potential inside of him, but he'd just never been brave enough or believed in himself enough to see it through. Ethan ended up pushing the traveler into an airtight unit with the deadly nerve agent, and he ended up dying in what looked like a horrific way. With Ethan having saved the day, Elena pretty much all but offered him a job when she said that once he got his injuries looked at and was stitched up, he should give her a call. The final thing that we saw was Ethan, Nora, and his baby going on the holiday that they mentioned at the start of the movie, with Jason, the guy that he got fired. However, now that the whole plot to destroy the plane was public, Jason most likely forgave Ethan. We also saw that Ethan had a police badge, and his connection with Elena landed him the job that he always wanted. The character went on a monumental journey, and he definitely wasn't the same person at the end of the movie compared to what he was at the start. All it took was him actually believing in himself. Nora always did, but he didn't know why. However, now that he did, he landed his dream job. My review of the movie. I thought this was a pretty good movie. It was an easy watch where it was about a serious subject matter, but it didn't feel heavy during the runtime. There was suspense and tension, and we didn't truly know what was going to happen, so it managed to capitalize on that feeling that it wanted us to feel. For me, I'd say the movie was probably at its best when we saw the initial conversation taking place when Ethan first encountered Jason Bateman's character, the Traveler. One of the most memorable and probably one of my favorite scenes in this film was the one which had the car crash that Eleanor was involved in. It was shot really well, and as the car was going across the highway and narrowly avoiding all of the other vehicles, climaxing with it looking like she was going to be killed but ultimately surviving, it was a moment that was exciting to watch for sure. In terms of the performances of the characters, it was quite an intimate movie in the sense that it was mainly Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman speaking with one another. Their chemistry when they weren't on screen together was strong, and it was amplified even more when they were together. I do think, though, there were a couple of things that didn't quite make sense when it came to the climax of the movie. I didn't quite understand why the motion camera didn't go off in the luggage section of the plane when it was just Ethan down there. And I also thought it was a bit coincidental that the traveler just took himself down to the luggage section too. It wasn't really that believable in my opinion, and it just felt too perfect of a situation. I thought the few twists that did occur in the movie though, such as Matteo being manipulated and participating due to his husband Jesse being held hostage, and also the switching of the flight tickets was quite smart. I didn't see either of those things coming and it did take me by surprise. The ending of the movie was definitely a cliche. Ethan got the happy ending that he always wanted, with him actually becoming a police officer in the final scene. We saw that it was about a year later and he had to place his badge in the security scanner before he boarded the flight that he promised Nora that he'd take her on. It was a massive cliche. But with this probably eventually being looked back on as a Christmas film, I feel like it had to have one. Otherwise, it's not one that you're going to put on around the holidays in the future. In terms of the performances of this movie, I thought Egerton did a great job in his role. It's not the most difficult role that he's taken on, but it was one which was quite intimate and had a wide range of emotions within it, as he went from being this person who was stuck in his job with no drive to being on the cusp of losing the very life that he was about to embark on. With regards to Jason Bateman, I feel like his performance didn't require much of him. There wasn't much emotional range because there didn't need to be. This was a man that was on a mission and he was just carrying it out with the intention of being paid. He was cold, menacing, and you could sense that he was somebody that just cared about the paycheck that he'd be getting despite the fact that he'd be killing hundreds of people. A character that frustrated me and felt a little bit out of place was the Watcher. I don't know why right at the end he was almost frothing at the mouth to kill Nora. It felt too unrealistic, and I didn't buy the fact that he was ever like that. It was almost animated. Other than that, his performance was strong, but it just got a bit too much in the car park. In terms of if this movie's worth watching, I think it's quite an easy film to follow, and one that has you on the edge of your seat for the most part of it. Its runtime is just shy of 2 hours, and to be honest, I would have expected this movie to have been about 1 hour and 40 minutes, so it's a little on the longer side for what it is. But I would say it's still worth the watch. It's not going to blow your mind away, but I think you'll enjoy the ride that it takes you on, as it is quite exciting and it has the tension and suspense that it needs. So, there you have it, a review of Carry On and the ending explained. If you want to see more videos on your favourite TV series and movies being broken down, then click on the card in the top corner, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. And finally, if you'd like to see what I gave this movie out of 5 stars, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this movie? Would you call it a Christmas film? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.